本期视频是5月17日油管一档著名播客访谈的节选，嘉宾一致认为俄罗斯根本不需要任何军事援助，而且东大也的确没有给他任何军事援助。美国的霸权实际上已经坍塌，只不过那帮政客不想承认罢了。我们看看他们是怎么说的吧。
What kind of aid, military aid, Larry, is China providing to Russia to use in the war against Ukraine?
Actually, I think very little. I think it's really the opposite. Russia's in a position to provide China with access to advanced hypersonic missiles that China would use to fend off a U.S. attack, because the U.S. attack will be maritime. Russia really doesn't need anything from China. That's been I call it the lie ginned up by Blinken and others in a bid to try to discredit and smear China. But, Russia and China have actually, they've been cooperating for quite a while on military endeavors. For example, they started 4 years ago doing joint military exercises with Iran. So this is not brand new. The relationship and growing closer has been underway for quite a while. What's accelerated it is the overt threats being made across the board by politicians in Washington talking about going to war with China. The number 2 guy at the Pacific PACOM, the Indian Ocean Pacific Command that used to be called traditionally PACOM out in Hawaii, is talking about, hey, we're going to be at war with China by 2025. The Chinese aren't stupid, and they actually can speak and understand English. We may have trouble with Chinese, but they understand the English. And you're not going to sit there in Beijing and listen to these kinds of threats from the United States and think, oh, those Americans, they're just funning. They don't mean it. Absolutely not. You take it dead serious. And by virtue of that, they recognize we're going to align ourselves with Russia, and because Russia's looking at the same thing. They're saying the West is crazy. They're hell-bent on attacking us. Let's stand together, because together we're stronger than all of them.
Is this, Ray, a recognition? Professor Mearsheimer thinks it is. Is this a recognition that American hegemony, American imperialism is kaput?
Well, the point is here, Judge, who recognizes that? You do, and Larry does, and I do. Does Blinken? Does Biden? Now, he's getting really bad advice. Okay, a year and a half ago, the director of national intelligence, Avril Haines, told him, I was asked about Russia-Chinese relations. They have meetings. Sometimes they have meetings. And we're watching very carefully to see if China is giving Russia any military aid, and they're not. That was a year and a half ago. Now, of course, somebody's got to be to blame for what's happening in Ukraine, and the Chinese are not standing for it. Their spokesperson, their foreign minister, said, look, we're not going to be a scapegoat here just because you guys are listening. Just because you guys are losing. We're not going to be a scapegoat. And, we're not providing anything out of the ordinary. And that happens to be true, as Larry has just said.